Hey everyone, it's Ashley Felk here. I'm doing another episode of my true crime podcast. I'm trying to do it every week, like once a week, but it's been about like 10 days since my last one. I'm a graduate student. I'm getting my master's degree in counseling right now, so I'm extremely busy and it's kind of like the end of the semester. So I haven't really been getting things done, on the side as much as I wanted to. But upcoming, I have some pretty big episodes that I'm kind of like planning out where I'm gonna have guests and stuff. So I'm like, need to learn how to start editing video so I can do that. But anyway, for anyone who doesn't know me, I have a bachelor's degree in forensic psychology. I'm just finishing my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, and I'm about to start working in a correctional facility as a therapist and about to start applying for doctorate programs in forensic psychology. My ultimate goal is to be a PhD forensic psychologist, so I am credentialed. I have experience working with violent offenders and psychopathic people. It's one of my research interests, so I'm not just some random true crime person on here with no type of knowledge in forensics. I am a forensics professional, just putting that out as a disclaimer. But then again, everything I say, it's my own opinion based on the facts, of the case that I see. So don't sue me or anything. This is just my professional opinion based on my knowledge, experience, and education and credentials. So, first, I wanted to go back to something I talked about last week, which was the civil suit that the Gonsalves family in Idaho filed against Washington State University. It's a wrongful death claim against their daughter, Kaylee Gonsalves, who was murdered by Washington State University student Brian Koberger in 2022. Now, the complaint has not been released to the public, so there's really not a whole lot of information. I believe the last episode I said that I thought all four families were suing, but it's just the Gonsalves family. And their lawyer also came out and made a statement that, like the complaint and the details of the lawsuit, are going to remain private unless it's like, I don't know, a need to know basis, or maybe they make another statement to the press. So I doubt we will really be hearing a lot about that until it's concluded. And even when it is settled, they'll probably settle outside of court for an undisclosed amount. So the second thing I wanted to bring up was a lawsuit against O.J. Simpson's estate. The families of Nicole Brown, his ex-wife, and Ron Goldman, the people he murdered, did sue his estate for, I think it was like $50 million or something. Back in the 90s, those two families did win a civil suit against OJ after he was acquitted for the double murder. And they were awarded the money, but OJ moved from California to Florida to avoid paying the settlement, because Florida is the only state in America where you can't collect civil judgments, out of state civil judgments, on the residents. So, what an asshole and a psychopath to move there and do that. So now, the families of Ron Goldman and his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson have sued his estate. But the thing is, I think there was like, the news said he had like less than $500,000 in his estate, and he owed the IRS like $2 million. So I guess pretty much good luck getting that money. And O.J. Simpson, like, I could probably do a whole other episode on him. I actually did a thesis for my criminal law undergrad on that whole case, and it's super, super interesting. So a big thing I wanted to bring up, and I can't believe that this really hasn't been more in the news nationally, is this 15-year-old kid in Miami-Dade County in Florida. His name is Derek Rosa. He's about to go on trial for the stabbing death of his mother. Okay, so here, I have notes here. So October 12th, 2023. So defendant Derek Rosa was 13 at the time. He stabbed his mother to death while she was asleep. And it's actually on video because she was in her bedroom and she had just given birth. So she had a newborn in the crib next to her bed, and the baby monitor had caught the murder. And this kid, Derek Rosa, took photos of his mother's dead body, sent it to a bunch of friends. He was clearly arrested, and he's been held in a facility since then, and there's been all this crazy kind of procedural stuff going on, and it's just been in the news this week that his defense team is trying to get the judge to recuse himself because I guess whatever comments or some kind of bias comments the judge has made regarding the defendant. And then also this kid's lawyer is Jose Baez, who was the same guy who represented Casey Anthony, who was acquitted. He recently withdrew, but he withdrew from the case as Derek Rosa's attorney, but he didn't really say why. But Derek Rosa still has 2 other attorneys who are working with him. Okay, so trial was initially set for January 26th of 2026. And it's not like 100% that it's going to be delayed yet, but most likely just because of the lawyer withdrawing, and then the defense keeps trying to get the judge to recuse himself. And then also the defense still has not released like their whole defense theory, and I guess they're trying to bring up some type of alternative perpetrator thing, which doesn't really make sense since the homicide was caught on video. So I'm eager to see where this goes. Again, this kid was 13 years old at the time of this crime. And I mean, I'm not trying to, provide any type of formal diagnosis on this person, but I would say at such a young age, committing matricide in such an egregious manner in front of his infant sister, I would say at minimum this kid has conduct disorder that I'm sure will develop into full-blown antisocial personality disorder by the time he's 18 years old. He clearly has psychopathic traits. He's also being tried as an adult, so when all this is said and done, he would be going into a correctional facility for adult offenders as opposed to juveniles. And again, too, one of my research interests for my master's degree and my doctorate and my residency that I'm about to start are psychopathic offenders, specifically their cognitions, and I guess the structural abnormalities and structural abnormalities in their brains, rather, that cause psychopathy, and the genetic components to it, the molecular biological components, because there are so many things that can cause psychopathic traits and antisocial personality disorder. So my other stuff that I had on here, hold on, this is kind of a last minute thing I'm doing. I'm laying in bed right now. It's like the night before Thanksgiving. I just got out of the shower. I have no makeup on. Maybe I'll put makeup on my next episode. And then another thing, at last podcast episode, I mentioned Robert Tweedley Jr. from Bay City, Michigan, which is kind of close to my hometown. He was supposed to be tried starting November 18th for the murder and dismemberment of his friend in Bay City, Jesse Stillwell. But that has been delayed. And on December 3rd, there's going to be a Walker hearing. Okay, so a Walker hearing is part of criminal procedural law that's only in Michigan. So when this guy, Robert Tweedley Jr., was arrested, and I believe it was a little over a year ago, so I think it was September 2024, because this happened kind of close to where I grew up, so I remember a lot about it, and I actually have friends who knew the victim. But okay, so this guy confessed to police when he was arrested. He said he was high on meth, and he had some type of rage blackout, and pushed the victim down the stairs, strangled him to death, then dismembered his body and distributed his body parts, including his head, all over Bay County, and including in a boat launch where the head was found by a small child in the boat launch. So this is extremely interesting and disgusting. Absolutely egregious, but this guy, when he was arrested, he did confess to police. So a Walker hearing, basically, kind of validates this guy's testimony to police, and the judge is going to decide at this hearing whether or not the confession was coerced and whether or not it could be used against him in his murder trial. And there was another trial date set for January, which also I think is going to be continued. But this is, I can't wait for the Walker hearing. And like I said, this is something that is only in the state of Michigan. So then I think the very last thing I have is that Sunday night, so 3 nights ago, Morgan Geyser, who was a young girl when she was 12 years old, was convicted of almost stabbing her friend to death in this weird ritual sacrifice in the woods of Wisconsin, and her friend did survive. Morgan Geyser, I don't know what she was convicted of. I didn't write it down here. But she got off on an NGRI plea. So she was sentenced, but she went into like a state hospital instead of a prison or a correctional facility. And she was just let out. Well, she was let out into a group home instead of a reentry home. And she was on a GPS tether. She immediately cut it off, took off, and was found like 2 days later at a truck stop in Illinois with some old man, a 43-year-old man. So now she's back in custody, actually, and I think law enforcement is trying to put her back into actual custody and revoke her her parole and her supervised release. And I was reading up about this, and it said when she was in the state hospital being treated on her NGRI plea, she appealed to be released on supervised release, and she was evaluated by 3 separate forensic psychologists who all agreed that she would be able to be released successfully without any, like, oh my gosh, what's the word here? Any warning of recidivism, like she wasn't going to commit crimes again. There wouldn't be a worry that she would go kind of commit crimes. Well, she did take off. So I'm not sure how those assessments went. Clearly, those 3 forensic psychologists made the wrong decision. But again, this is another young person. She was 12 years old when she committed the crime. She's 22 now. And I think this person might need maybe a little extra treatment there and be put back into the facility. So that's all I have for tonight. But like I said, I'm getting ready to do more episodes, specifically on psychopathic offenders, like the really Machiavellian ones who are going to use deceit as their MO. And I'm going to make some more videos before that talking about the etymology of psychopathy and antisocial personality disorder, the difference between them, the different constructs in forensic psychology that kind of differentiate, ASPD from psychopathy, and also different types of cognition involved in psychopathic offenders, and why you see psychopathic traits and sexual offending way more in men at an exponential rate in men than you do in women. So I guess that's all I have for tonight, and I'll see you next time.